To the UKEL Grand Finals on well, I had seen it. I'm serious. Yeah, this is, I am, first of all, I'm so excited to be here as everybody is, and I really hope you have an entertaining series on our hands because it's looking to be an exciting game day at Media. And it feels like we couldn't have done it any more UK than how we're doing it right now. This is UK, this is UK League of Legends. It's great. Everyone's in the building. People over here, you'll probably go see them in a little bit when we get some fan interaction with Great Heart. But honestly, it's a great time. This is the finals, right? Two teams, they've really stuck their way through. Look clean. We'll get to them in a little bit. Also, 200 round is already making their move, right? Like they've definitely been doing their thing. And I feel like there could be a lot of confusion. It feel like it could be a long series. I think it's definitely a possibility. Like a lot of people will sit there and think there's a prediction that most people will be floating around for the series today. I won't say just yet, but most people have it being not that close. I think there's a chance. Crucial match to get either way. Good. Yeah, I do think the Venom are coming in as clearly the favorite. Everybody kind of has the same prediction in their head. But 200 Bandits have been building on their same core or the same idea of playing the game their way. And they've been looking better and better, beating better and better opponents, and showing better and better results against top tier competition. So I do think there is a possibility, but it's a David versus Goliath at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that. I feel like we've got a lot going on, right? We've got us on the desk. We've got potentially Great Heart talking to some of the fans. I don't know if production, if we're going to that anytime soon, but if not, we're just going to keep going with our desk. But we've got some casters in the building as well, right? They're not too far from us, right? Hopefully we'll see them soon. But we have a load of fans in the building as well. So it's been great. It's been great. We love the UK. If we can, let's bring up the first team. Let's get into this, right? Let's actually break down what we're going to be watching today. So Venom Crest, they are the favourites. If we could bring up the graphic there on the screen, that would be great. But let's kind of talk about this team, right? They've really made their statement. They're 9-0 in the regular, 4-0 in playoffs. Is there a world where they are completely flawless throughout this whole season?
I mean, there's a really good chance right today. I think, we saw in the upper bracket, yes, for the advantage you said have grown, but Venom Crest did absolutely normal. And don't forget Venom Crest, they did make lots of changes early on. They had Clear at the beginning. They also had Scylla. Those two players ended up going elsewhere. And we end up, as we see the roster here, it's us in the top lane, Phrase, and Rhythm and Snekker. Phrase and Snekker are coming in, and they've looked also phenomenal. And those players, they're on top of their game. It's going to be hard to turn around to beat. Yeah, and I like the difference about Grumblers a lot is today. Phrase, let's bring her up. Like, he also he feels confident. Really strong performance last time when they playing against. Yeah, I mean, Phrase has kind of been not the pure guy for Venom Crest, but he has been another heavy piece of firepower to have in their arsenal. Everybody on Venom Crest is a threat. Phrase is just there to help everybody get to the point where they're unmatchable. And I feel like he's doing the job excellently in this roster. Together with Seneca, he's slotted in and he's doing an excellent job.
Indeed. All right, let's get to the second team. Let's bring up 200 Bandits on the screen. I feel like they're the challengers. They're the underdogs. We all love an underdog story, right? They've made some moments happen. They weren't top in the season. They weren't top in playoffs. They had to come back from redemption. But I feel like they're making it happen. And obviously, we've got to start. I'm going to start with you, Harold, right? Lunkafa, talk to me about this jungler.
Well, I mean, I've been talking about this guy since week 2. The first week I was on broadcast. I think he's just genuinely been the linchpin for 200 Bandits. When they get stuff done, it's because Lunkafer is in a position to make plays. He's in a position to say, okay, I have a lead. I can use it to make shit happen on the map. Sorry for the swearing. But we've seen it in the matchup, in the prior matchup. The 2 games that they lost to Venom Crest in these playoffs, he was completely shut down. He was taken out of the game. He was targeted. The Phrase did an excellent job together with his laners to take away information and make sure he could not get out on the map. Every other team has not been able to do this. We've seen Broad fall to this. We've seen Belfast Storm fall to this. It really comes down to whether JB and Kenny can move on the map with him to make plays happen.
Yeah, any other final thoughts on 200 bandits?
Just absolutely how solid their lanes have been. I know we can talk about Lunkenberg every day of the week, but that kind of style of jungle is not possible without having super stable laners. And the two players I want to shout out for that are JB in mid lane, who's looked exceptional most of the split, easily one of the top laners in the league. And Loopy has been a massive surprise to me. Smaller champion pool, or an Urgot. We've seen a Nara and a Poppy as well. But he's been exceptional weak side. And you can't play this kind of style if you aren't seeing sacrifices elsewhere on your team, at least the style of Lunkenver. And Loopy sacrificed everything for his team, and they're in the finals. He's got them here.
They've got all the way to the finals, right? This is the moment they've been waiting for. We're playing for the coveted title of UK Winter Final. Finalist winner, even. I was going to say finalist, but they're a bit more than that. And then also it's for points, right? You want to make yourself known. You want to get to the RPS. You want to take on all of the great teams from around the NLC regions, right? And this is the first step, right? Get your points, lock yourself in, get yourself a good ticket to go all the way through. Obviously, that is going to be a few more seasons before we get to that, right? You will have to win a few more times, but it's a good start, right? Let's get into it, though, about the previous matchup, okay? Because I feel like the last matchup wasn't particularly close, right? It was a very, very good showing from Venomcrest. And I will say, I feel like one of the biggest things we talked about earlier, right? Look for being able to play the game. I want to run this VT if we can, production. If we can run, when we actually get to see Lunkenver play the game changes, right? Everything goes so much better for them.
I mean, yeah, we've seen this guy on not necessarily the largest champion pool, but it is limited to the amount of games you have in the UKO. But he has played the Kindred, he's played the Skarner, he's played the Wukong, the Viego, the Lilia. You don't, like, the only one that is not necessarily a carry, and even then, at the current state of the game, I feel like he's still a carry, is the Skarner. But anytime this guy manages to find an opening to make a play through Fog of War, he's going to do it. He has that aggressiveness instilled in him that is really good to see in a player. I love seeing a player that just says, I'm going for it. I see the window, I see the possibility, I'm going for it. If you can follow up, great. Otherwise, I'll do it myself. But I do think he's just been so crucial to what 200 bandits have been doing that anytime he's in a shaky position or he's even, it does feel that 200 bandits are kind of hamstrung themselves because, of course, draft resources are going to go to him. And then that kind of tends to bite you back later on, where maybe you get counterpicked into play difficult lane matchups.
And I also want to say for you, Rob, like, I feel like Venomcrest, when we were kind of prepping them for the last series, like we were like, okay, they've really controlled, they're really good in that mid game, they take the game away when they get their opportunities. But I feel like the last time they played, they came in aggressive, they were playing early game, they picked things like Lucian in the bot lane.
I think they also have the realization that when you're facing 200 bandits, because let's not forget Venomcrest, the normal team, their coaching has also been excellent this split in terms of draft as well as their gameplay. When you're against 200 bandits, it's crucial that you're smashing lanes early because Lunkenfer, he plays and it's so stable. It's very standard jungling in the sense of you're not looking for cheese ganks level 3. He is playing for himself every single time. And Venomcrest came into that and said, listen, we know there might be a difficulty in this jungle matchup. Lunkenfer's incredible. So let's just absolutely smash you in your lanes, which, yes, they've been stable, but they've also been able to be broken, which we saw in that series, which I think Rhythm especially has been obviously phenomenal. And even in top lane, you've got Bust versus Loopy, and Bust he was great when he was on Lion's Creed, but this split, he's been absolutely incredible in the top lane. He's got a level above where he was before when he won the title.
We are going to get into those in a little bit, but no, I completely agree with you. I think they came with the game plan, they stuck to it, they were really able to execute. One thing, again, I want to bring up, and I don't know if we do have that clip of when we get to see Lunkenfer play the game, but it's a sentiment of, I want to now move on to the mid lane, right? Because I feel like it's another important part of what these junglers really tick with. I feel like, especially for Venomcrest, they love some good solo lane potential, but it does come through Phrase a lot. But I want to talk about Air, because I feel like Air has been a difference maker in so many games, whether that be purely from his own carrying potential or actually to do with being able to just play the role they need, right? Wave clearing and setting up and being a threat in those team fights as well. And I feel like this Air versus JB matchup is going to be pretty crucial, especially if JB gets locked into lane.
Air, let's not forget, and you have to cast your mind back to the round robin. Air was the reason they won that game against 200 bandits. It looked like Venomcrest were not going to go undefeated. Chandra Bandits were massively ahead in that game. I remember it was honestly a loopy masterclass for a long time in that game. Air on the Yone manages to pull multiple resources to the side lanes, ends up solo killing the Victor, JB playing the Victor, and ends up resulting in the win. Yes, the team fight the bot side didn't look so good, but JB got kind of diffed on sides, to be honest, and Air on a Yone, which looked quite weak in that game. So he's shown multiple styles. He's played the Victor early on, incredible at that. He's also shown stuff like the Yone. He's also got other champions, I'm sure. I mean, I'm trying to think off the top of my head now. He's got like Oriana, he's got like Syndra, and Bessa. He's played like every I mean, the guy has a stupidly deep champ pool that we were. And don't forget, I know we should probably forget now, but it's Fearless Draft.
Yes.
That's
and he uses that to move around the map, create pressure, and just control the tempo of the game and generate something that is behind the control the tempo of the game and generate especially like thinking back to the ball matchup, for example, have one shitty game, but then you have two excellent games, especially like so close if you are just finding the windows to just push, shot, and then move together with Butterfly and Kenny and make the difference. You don't necessarily have to win every lane. You win one lane,
Indeed. I don't think it's going away from us. I'm not sure. We are getting some stuff in the crowd. Production, let me know if I do need to fire. I don't think it's going away from us. We're just going to keep going though. So either way, yeah. So back into this one. So there's also another thing which is I want to talk about rhythm, right? And I really hope that production can hear me and that we can drop that VNC because
I need the cue. It's me. It's me now.
oh, we're on
Hello, everybody. How are we doing? Excellent. Excellent. This is really weird. I can see myself on the TV as well. Welcome to the Four Nations Grand Finals live in Manchester. I had a whole cold open plan, but we've had some tech issues, so we will be cutting it down. We would like to thank Pixel Bar Manchester for kindly supporting this event and also acknowledge the help of Riot Games. I'm now going to put the microphone by my face, which I should have been doing all along. If you would like to sponsor or partner with the UKEL in the future, this is mainly viewers at home. Hello, everyone at home. Then please get in touch. Our DMs are open on Twitter. And we would love to work with you because we would love to do more of this in the future. Because today we're going to do something a little bit special, something that's not been done since before the pandemic. And we'd love to share it with you today. This is the Four Nations Grand Finals. And we are live in Manchester! Woo! Alex, take it away. We've got a game to start. That was horrendous.
Yeah, it went better than I thought it would go.
We can always swing a thing. I need
starting
some.
soon. I think there's a heads up. But I want to get this.
Battery is also red hot. It is an economy one.
As a player,
It's going to stay hot when you I need this. It comes out of here. So this is your point in. It starts to fall off real hard around here. So aim this.
Honestly, when you've now paired with a support that's never, those two together in the bot lane have been pretty much clustering every bot lane.
yeah, it's like we saw duo kills coming through. Like obviously they were able to do so much of that solution. I don't know if they're going to go early game or if they're going to go late game, but it's like we kind of do it all.
As you see, we're already rough. It's only a few things that they see. JB on the Yone, and we're here. They're taking it away completely for the rest of the series.
Yes, okay, so they're actually taking away we've got the Corky and the Yone coming in from Bellingham.
I mean, that makes sense. Lendil does have he's a fan of that Corky as well, though, obviously, now that see the I mean, I'm catching up in draft and saying really short. You know that the match this Corky is in the bot lane. Yone is very likely going to go for JV in the side. Anyway, no, this Corky very, very strong pick. The Smolder coming through is a counter to the Malphite, and then the Lilia answer. This is a pretty standard draft pick. Both sides you see the bandits, and you see the solid laning sort of style coming out as a better race.
Yeah. And then you kind of just throw all of them to the win because then
Exactly right.
Yeah, that's why we're getting Smolder and Ash. I'll be honest, we can maybe come back to that one in a second. So we're going into the second man phase. Rom and the Renata's taken away. It's 200 bandits, right? Yeah, it's 200 bandits. And Realm are going to be removed from the map. So far, they're kind of holding on to that top lane pick. Like the North is being locked in. There is a roll, but that can also go top lane.
It's possible. I imagine that Lupi, despite being playing all these sort of inside top lanes, might look because his Orn and his Urgot are taken off the board, so we can see some pressure coming out from the top lane of bandits. Aiden Orton, he's taken a poppy. I wonder if Pedro's come out here because receiver an excellent lock in. It could be a poppy angle potentially, but that's quite hard to play. So the rest of Venom Crest is with the owner locks. I don't know where they're going to go.
The mark has worked really well here because it's decided to understand it gives it a supplemental CC on top of the Monko Police is just going to be another week's accepting the losing the mechanics because not really much to say. You're kind of just using the R5 to neutralize the lane and then what the goal is going to and you're kind of just, again, this team lives and dies by looking for it.
Yeah, and it's just about the early game, right? Freeze has potential. Like the Malphite can get things going, the Renekton's going to give him a lot of room in the top side there. And I feel like, okay, they can lock down that Lilia too. So there is a lot of opportunity. Also, the late game scaling for them is massive. Right? The big potential in the Leona, but also the smaller with the damage later on.
I was going to mention here that if you look at what you want from a Bandits draft, I don't think this actually gives it to you. Yes, you've got the Lilia, but again, top lane, you said Harold just commented the matchup. Renekton can get that push on top. The Smolder is able to get into the Yone, and bot lane accurate for pushing bot. I'm a little bit conservative to Bandits because you can see a lot of the masterclasses, it comes off the back of stable laning. And let's not forget, this copy, of course, Venom Crest is going to be able to go to the late game as well. With that Smolder, with the Malphite, these two together in team fights is very, very cool.
Yeah, we didn't get to talk about it a little bit earlier, but there's a world where, Venom Crest blows up very quickly. Like 200 bandits, they take a little bit longer. There's always an opportunity for that Venom Crest to come back into it. With that comp, I'm going to say, that's why there's a chance for them to take this one home with that late game scaling. What is your prediction for game one?
If I'm looking at the comps, like without thinking of names, I'm still giving it to them. Yes, I think their comp all around is just more solid. They can layer the CC with the Ash, the Malphite, the Renekton, and the Leona. It's just easier to execute.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Venom Crest. I mean, the big thing here is the Smolder. Anyone who plays on side lane against him, they can't actually catch him. And so the Smolder, no matter what lane he goes into, he's just going to be having it for a game of his hair. Best mid lane in the league. It's very scary.
It is, we also got rhythm on that Ash with those pick potentials. Like, there's just a lot of credibility going on. It's scary. The only way that I can think about it is maybe like they go Yone side lane, go 1-3-1. Maybe they can do something like that, but we haven't seen that a lot from Jordan Rabbit. It's a very Venom Crest move. So I do wonder how that one's going to go. Either way, though. It's only one way to find out. That's to watch, to tune in. It's the finals. Make sure you tell everyone at home, your nan, your postman, everyone to get themselves onto a screen and look at what we're doing right here. It's a live finals with a crowd of hype. We're hype, and we're going to send this one over to the casters. It's time for CJ Trading and Black Blockstar to take this one home. Oh, hello.
Wait, it is us.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, J Real. Welcome, everybody, to the casting desk. We are in the thick of it right now, as I'm sure you can tell. You can probably hear a shout from the corner.
Yeah.
And this is a crazy setup we've gone. It's a pretty interesting draft to start our Bloxer. I think Temporal's going to fire himself in like a missile in a couple of seconds.
Yeah. All right, over. Push over.
Cover the fact he's doing that.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell? So what do you think about the shot? Because you weren't as big a fan of the Smolder as the desk.
I think the issue with the draft for me is that,
There he is.
Helen, there we go. We're all in the corner. Thank God.
We're doing the thing.
To be honest, as much as the Smolder is a little bit interesting to me in terms of like how strong it actually is at the moment. It's who's playing it, right? Does it really matter what pickup Air actually has if he's just better than everybody else available?
It's true. It's just true, man. It's just absolutely true. We have to worry so much.
Yeah. He's got a value. But that's into the Yone, right? It's into JB's Yone, and JB, especially in the last series, the lower bracket final, JB crushed that one. He was looking like that was the first time when I was like, actually, maybe this guy can give Air a bit of trouble in the mid lane.
It was not as one-sided as one would have thought. You know, it is the one matchup on the day, though, because so much of the jungler's agency then like echoes off of those two. It's going to be hard to see.
Yeah. I think I've been told that I need to speak into this mic. I think that's what J-Real was saying. So as a play-by-play, I'm going to exercise my privilege and hold this one.
Yeah,
and I'm going to force my colors to share because I have to have the easiest job in the room as a play-by-play, or I don't know what to do. I can't handle it. So we are, I think, getting onto the Rift, into the game for the Four Nations Grand Finals in Manchester.
Oh my goodness.
There we go.
I hope you hear that as loud as we do. That is our awesome, awesome crowd.
Here we go. Okay, Venom Crest, 200 Bandits. Everybody is for the Serpents today. They have swept the season. They're heading onto the Rift. They've got tools. They've got scaling. They've got a really solid start here. 200 Bandits, they need to show us why we should believe in them today.
Yeah, so let's have a look at where we're going to have everybody starting off, because it looks like Venom Crest, they want to start these finals with a little bit of shenanigans. They're going to be 5-manning down in the bottom lane. Kenny does spot this one out, though, so I don't think this is actually going to net any real benefit here for Venom Crest, but I don't think it's going to particularly be too much of an issue for them either. Everybody can reset on this one, and we'll go back to a slightly more standard pathing afterwards.
Kenny did get out of there before he got pushed down the elevator. So just holding stable in the bottom lane. Seneca and Rhythm just pushed up in the bottom lane. We will see if they try and get behind this tower or get something started off. So small advantages to be made, potentially.
Yeah. I'm really personally trying to watch where Lunkifer is going to go early on, because like this is a guy that we've been bigging up. The desk was telling us how important he is. He's on the Lilia. This is fairly ult dependent, right? This is not someone I'd be expecting to be winning the lanes for his team necessarily. They've got players like the Yone and the Cassante, you know, the Nautilus and bot lane that can try and get winning situations for themselves. But the jungler is so important, and I need to see how 200 Bandits are going to enable that.
Yeah, I mean, are they going to go straight in on this one? No, they're just going to put a little bit of pressure down. Oh, never mind. Okay, straight in.
Hook's
straight
coming in.
Backline.
Seneca cannot wait to go through the heal, in fact, to aggressively reposition Elendil and Kenny, having to give the space back.
And this is exactly what you want to be doing with this Ashley-Ona bot lane. It's so powerful. You can bully Elendil and Kenny around very easily with it. And once you go in as Seneca, it's very, very difficult for your opponents to actually get away. I want to see them constantly pushing through this bottom lane, trying to make this a real place of power for Venom Crest. They've been able to do it so well. Rhythm has been one of my favorite players to watch throughout the entire split for how much they can do. And look at them.
Again, the engage comes in. Cleanse now down from the Corki. The HP not looking too good either.
The heal used, cleanse to get away. Elendil in a pretty rough situation now. You know, the cleanse more conditional. The ignite still in Seneca's pocket. The tower next.
Right now, it looks like Lungfo kind of moving his way down towards the bottom side of the map. Could potentially look for a gank, although, as you were saying, Trajan, not particularly what you want to be doing as the Lilia. You'd be much happier to just power clear your way through, but your bot lane is getting bullied around right now. You can see even a little bit of pressure onto the tower already. Obviously, that's going to be pretty weak at this point in the game, but if you're beginning to lose tower plates, constantly losing that flash, the cleanse, all of that, it's just making it so much harder for them to play, and if it's making Lungfo come down here, that's a great way to get him off.
Lunkifer heading towards this lower river now, but both the bot lane and the mid lane in priority for Venom Crest. Seneca will see it coming a mile away. We'll have to see if the Lilia gets in safely. She's currently just outside of that ward on the blue buff.
I love the vision that Venom Crest has put down. They've got the try, they've got the river buff warded. They know there is a risk. They're playing up in the lane. They need to not give the kills over to Lunkifer. Don't let this guy accelerate into the game. They see him coming down the river right now, presumably. Aaron goes the Ash Seeker right there. This is the benefit this champion. Doesn't avoid the hook right, though. Kenny gets the fight started. Cannot lock him down anymore, though.
This is great right here for Venom Crest. As much as you can pull the attention of Lungfoe down into this bottom lane, something that's pretty hard to gank anyway, even if they're immobile, because of the slows, it makes it even harder to gank onto this lane, and it stops you from being able to do what you want as a Lily. You can see Lungfoe is going to get a little bit of vision, maybe actually be able to steal away these chickens, is losing his own on the backside of this play, so it's not really any benefit right now for the main man here for 200 Bandits.
Vision for both as they move away from each other's jungles just slowly. Loopy on the top side in a bit of a vulnerable position, is currently dropping his health, so might be a vulnerability of a dive. Bust with a flash would be enough.
Look right here at the CS gap that's already opened up in the bot lane.
Seneca chooses to go aggressively behind the tower. The hook from Kenny and Alendo with that shredding Gatling gun gives as good as they get. Bust now on the top side getting hefty with Loopy behind the towers. The Pathmaker's there. And Lunkup around the corner. Bust has to dash away. Will not get clipped by the bowling ball.
Frey's not in a position to reinforce, so Venom Crest will move away. Safe for now, and no first blood just yet.
This is again Lungfoe being spotted out, losing some of his chickens here. This looks like Fraze might get collapsed on.
Oh, he stepped too far out of his bounds. Fraze W4 to try and get to safety. Air is there with the W to keep him safe. JP separates from the soul as the last flash in from Lunkup. There's the first blood. It's the 200 Bandits jungler. That is the one thing Venom Crest did not want to happen.
You can hear it. Everybody in Manchester here goes crazy. And Lungfoe, we've been hyping him up for good reason. He's the main man for this roster. They need to get him ahead. And the Lilia can be tricky to get ahead because you want to be spending so much time power farming. This is pre-level 6. You've already gotten a kill.
Pretty good start. Can't argue from 200 Bandits. And Loopy just reminding Bust, you can't teleport into a lane versus this caliber of top lane. You can't just, expect a third of your health to not go missing. Let's look over the map right now. Dragons up, Grubs on the minds of all these players. Ash and Smolder go so hard with that buff enabled. So I wouldn't be surprised to see both junglers just hovering around the top side, getting up there in the next 30 seconds.
And it might be a possibility for a fight right here. Venom Crest roster, of course, has a lot of scaling on it, so do 200 Bandits. But in terms of these early skirmishes, you just have to give a little bit of priority over to a composition that has a Maokai and a Leona. Those two are so good in these early game little plays. So let's see if 200 Bandits actually want to get involved here.
All right, Fraze might be able to get the first one away. The smite still in pocket. That will go down. Top laner starting the fight.
Well, Loopy committing the ultimate bust already in the Dominus. They're both getting pretty darn low. We know Cassante loves to be at the low HP. Lunkup turns back to assist the top laner, sees if the help is required. As Bust is still not retreating to the tower. FaZe in the jungle, heads back, and 200 Bandits, they'll call the holding off. They can go back to the Grubs if they wish.
Not a bad escape. Nice and calm. Just to get the first one down. Very little pressure around the Grubs now because the threat of that stack of feet of strength, shall we say, is not present. So Lunkup will be able to finish those up, and the teams will share. No one getting the 6 Grubs this game. And Dragon starting to be present in the mind.
Yeah, but no real immediate bit of response onto the Dragon. Both of these teams going to be a little bit delayed towards this one. Venom Crest, they had a push through the bottom lane as those Grubs were being taken. Could well have moved over to them, a little bit behind the tempo potentially. Doesn't matter for them too much. They are still going to be able to fight around this if they want to. And in this situation where you've actually got Seneca in the area on the Leona, this is where they're much stronger. That's why they had to walk away from that Grub fight. They didn't have the Leona. Now looking mid.
Oh, JB getting flashed on. The ultimate block by the Leona, putting the body in the path, still over the wall. Ooh. Gets the 200 Bandits mid laner. Air's mom cannot get the kill, and the JB will survive the Ash Arrow sailing through. Is it true? JB almost slap bag into it, but does not get clipped.
Venom Crest, in the meantime, buy space for the Dragon. Are able to pick that up despite not converting onto JB in the mid lane.
So that is going to be the Drake picked up right here for Venom Crest. Walking away with that one. It's not one of the strongest. You're not going to be so excited about it individually, but because you've got such a good scaling composition, being able to get yourself towards those stacks, getting towards actually having all 4 of those Drakes would be a really nice thing for Venom Crest to look for. It's something they've been so good at throughout the entire year, right? They've been in control of these objectives more than any other team, and it's been part of why they've been so good.
Loopy again getting scrappy with Bust, but this looks a little different to last time. He holds his ult this time, and Bust will take control of this situation. Looks for the proc as well. Possible plate to pick up, but overall Loopy starting to struggle to stun the Q. It is getting real dicey for him up there.
Holding on, thinking about it. Still has ult and flash in pocket, so will manage to hold his nerve there. Kenny also moving up to the top side. He's off timer for any of the objectives here, so he's just here to reinforce.
Sorry, we've just spotted that there's a dark seal right now in Fraser's
that's
back
bold.
pocket. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's aggressive, but hey, let's see if it works. Bust is also getting aggressive.
Loopy.
I don't
He's
know if
got
it
the
works.
knockback.
Oh.
Into the turret. Kenny with a flash
Oh.
gets the same from Bust. I thought Loopy had caught him slipping right there. Still holds the ult, but fights back in top.
Skin of his teeth as he gets away. Bot lane, just a Valkyrie away from safety. A lot of tension, but no conversion yet as 200 Bandits support reinforces the top side.
This has not been a passive early game, but very few kills so far. Now an attempt onto Air's life. He's going to be able to get away from that bowling ball very easily. And so far, this Smolder, even into the Yone matchup, has been absolutely fine. We were worrying a little bit about how Air was going to be able to survive through this one. Wait, what?
Going for the dive. Kenny with the ultimate. There's the ult from Loopy and Ignite dropped as well. Kenny holding aggro. The flash in. Loopy with the kill credit. Still goes down in a trade.
And that's not going to be worth it right there. You're bringing your support up to the top lane, but you're still giving Bust another one of the kills. But this is the action that we were hoping for. And now it looks like Venomcrest potentially want to get a bit of a response down onto the bottom lane. They don't have anyone to dive, or do they?
Do they? Seneca thinks he's got the juice for it. Out comes the Maokai ultimate, rooting up the carries, cleanse from Elendil quickly, and Venomcrest are peeling back. Well, look who's coming around the corner. It's JB's Yone, and they're into the meat grinder. First looking for to follow JB. Wants to make this work. Seneca with the knockup snaps back to the body as Elendil flashes to safety.
1 for 1 there in the end. Seneca and Lunkenberg get away. Well, rather, will be respawning. Elendil does get away. Under the tower, Rhythm on their own now. Should be careful. Kenny's feeling it.
Oh, gets the
no.
hook. In comes Elendil. There's the knockup, but a flash away from Rhythm. Gets himself the safety. Freeze!
no!
Oh, the corner for the comeback! Now Kenny's left in the lurch. I thought this was a good idea, guys, but he's the one going down. Hook up to Minion. Oh, Kenny with the highbackers. Freeze cleans up the mess.
Oh my lord! This early game is popping off all of a sudden, and it looks like more than anything, it's support gaming. Kenny just about manages to make what was a bad play into an okay one. These teams are just scrapping.
Let's have a look at the replay here. Kenny really felt this, and it was 8 seconds that counted down, but Fraser with the delayed recall just manages to make it happen, and is the only one left standing after Kenny with a hero hook here. We all thought he'd done himself onto the minions. Can you tell we're live and in person? The blood rush is real.
Oh my, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. We've got the second set of grubs spawning right now. The original set was split between the teams. So let's see if Fraser actually wants to get involved. I think he might just be looking right now to steal one away. I don't know if you can fully go in. Bust does.
Lunkerfer getting caught at the pass by Bust. Then comes a stun into the wall. And now Loopy removing the Renekton from the equation. Knock up by Kenny. Lunkerfer's back in. We're into the bit. We're all piling in here, ladies and gentlemen. The kills are flying left and right, but so far it's Venomcrest with control.
Right place, right time for Air as he converts over Seneca's Solar Flare. Fraser will be left to pick up the remaining grubs, going to 4 and 2 in favor of Venomcrest.
Yeah, and once you get a Smolder with that Essence Reaver involved, sure, he's still got a long way to go to actually be doing as much damage as he needs to, scaling up to the point where he needs to get to. But still, at this point, he does enough damage to be able to really get involved in this fight.
Okay, I'm not sure if you can do this, Rhythm.
He thinks he can. He's going to step up. He doesn't want to lose his cannon minion.
Bit of aura there. AD carries just, that's my cannon. And so he goes, quick vibe check, gentlemen. We laughed about a Dark Seal on, as Elendil will continue to retreat to safety. No Enchanted Crystal just yet. The Leandries is through, and we're 4 and 1 on AP Maokai.
We may have spoke too soon. Yeah. We may have doubted the boy, and we have to hold our hands up, all right? That's our bad.
Hey, if you're going to game with magic, it's got to be proper. Dragon just in on the map. Recall here from Rhythm. Did manage to hold on in the lane, but just going to make sure he's at full strength and at full gold spent before the Dragon fight.
They really need to set themselves up for this one. Right now, you're sat very close to be able to getting those feats unlocked for yourself here as Venomcrest. So they want to be able to pick up this Drake right now. You can see they're getting all of this vision set up early on. Kenny might get caught. Oh boy.
Kenny, here comes the aggression, the CC chain, the desk, we're talking about it. It is brutal for Kenny. Will not be allowed to escape. And there's the full stacks on the Dark Seal. Fraser's got it done.
Dragon the prize here. Venomcrest lurk and wait. And their prize comes walking to them. Bust should probably be respecting this cross map a little more. Loopy just a little short, but Lunkafu's in.
Round the corner, ready to make sure this one works out. The ult's been dropped once again, and Bust with nowhere to go. Loopy picks up the credit this time as Phrase on the bot side starts up that dragon. Will make it 2-0 for Venom Crest to get the other epic camp, and that should be feats done for them.
It's a nice play right here for Venom Crest. But the thing is, 200 Bandits we were talking about, was Loopy going to actually be able to step up to Bust? Because the last time they played, and honestly, in the last couple of games, Loopy's felt like a little bit of a weak link for 200 Bandits. Well, right now, on this Cassante that we also had questions about, not one of his best-looking champions, he's doing absolutely fine. You can see it in terms of the gold right now, dead even, absolutely fine with this Cassante. And this is the kind of champion where even if you go even, you can do so much in these team fights, and putting Bust behind on this Renekton, another key factor in 200 Bandits maybe being able to pick up this first game.
It's really cool that he's not stuck in one person anymore, and we're seeing like not only a sort of revival of the way we saw Cassante played previously, but also we got to put the nameplates on. Bust is a multiple-time Four Nations champion, absolute chat of the top lane. He's an excellent Renekton, and he's not making it happen on his own. Kenny's in the right place, the right time, and it's all going forwards. It's really, really strong for game one.
We do have to clarify that it is going decently for 200 Bandits. Their early games have always been solid. Venom Crest as well. These two of our best early game teams. I'm a little worried about the Smolder being 1-0 and 2, and so far more or less uncontested. That's the one thing where I'm like, 200 Bandits, we're going to need an answer to this question before too long, or it's going to be a bad time.
The potential answer right here is going to be JB. Loopy, actually, he's going to dodge away from that one. I don't know if you can get out, though. Seneca, he does land it.
Tags him. Maokai out there. Again, we just saw this combo onto the Nautilus now. Does the Cassante have enough tankiness? The haters would say yes, but I don't know if Loopy can prove them right. He does have the flash. He's almost there. There's no shot, and Rhythm makes sure that it is not a disaster for Venom Crest. They come away with it.
We cursed the man. We cursed him. We killed him. We were just talking about how well he was doing. The response, though, 200 Bandits, they're going to cross map.
Bust as well. Once again, the target aggression. Kenny can't hit them like Seneca does, and we're going to have to wait a little longer, I think.
No prize immediately on the map to convert 200 Bandits, though they want it so bad.
They really do. 4 people piled in, and Lunkafer picks up the credit. Tower as well.
It's another victory. 200 Bandits cross-mapping just in time, and the Rift Herald should be spawning real soon. And with that, they'll be able to pick it up.
Bust flashed for that, by the way. He was trying to style on 200 Bandits. Like, bro, you're surrounded by 4 people, man. You're dead. Don't blow your flash.
It's 4v1. Just respect, you know.
There's no reason.
It's 5 minutes of wasted time. But
You've chosen to be a top laner, my guy. Like, just accept it, okay?
We've
all had to come to terms with it.
It's true. You know, if you got a flash W on Renekton, you don't flash W alone. You do it together.
Yeah, and as much as we are laughing and joking, that is a lot of aggression onto these main carries right here for 200 Bandits that just evaporate. Lunkafoa, Elendil, they're going to be very happy now that Renekton doesn't have the flash to get into the backline. So we'll see if it actually turns out to be a big thing for us, as we are now going to have a little bit of a fight here around this Herald.
Oh, again, Seneca leading the charge, a TP behind, out comes the hours, there's the classic CC combination, but Kenny, not that important in the grand scheme of things. Bust still onto the backline, and there's a Lender with the flash, the Renekton cannot follow. On the other side, Loopy's diving in, gets onto Seneca and trades the support for his own. Lunkafer gets Ku with the ultimate, trying to get the damage down, but now Phrase is holding him out. Venom Crest stands strong in their side of the jungle. 2 in the pocket for air. Now JB and Elendil, the carries remaining, trying to keep it solid, but JB goes too deep and ends up serving up the triple.
The dragon from downtown holds on, and in the state where so many low health bars are presented, it's time to grow up real fast. Air's going to keep going under the tower. And that's the flash from Bust. We're missing the flash from Bust. That's real sad.
Yeah, see?
Kenny?
Oh, over the wall, onto air, just got the kills, and in comes Elendil with the damage. There it is, a counter, as now Bust finds his way in. A Valkyrie from Elendil keeps him safe. Phrase now, seeing anything he can do. Another hook from Kenny. He's happy to go in again. He's got the Corki ready to dish out the damage. The saplings put paid to that one, and 200 Bandits have to call it there.
And as much as that was really fun right here, from these main carries, watch Phrase throughout this team fight. He's the one who actually manages to win this team fight right here for Venom Crest. Once he gets involved, he's doing so much damage with this Maokai. There's so much slow he's doing, and also he's just buying time for these main carries. It's at this point, once the ulti comes down, he's on top of Lunkafoa, make sure he can't get on top, bases out Loopy. He's just buying so much space here for Rhythm Air to be able to do their thing. And you said it, Trajan, right? What is this Smolder doing? Because it feels like it was just chilling. Well, the second it gets involved in this team fight, immediate triple kill. And this feels so bad for JB. Look at him. Oh.
Oh man, that stinks.
It does. It's very tough for JB. He wants to get these important kills, wants to keep the fights even. But at the end of it all, Air, yes, he went down to Kenny and Lendo a little later, but my guy is now 4-1. My guy is approaching
TP.
3.5 items. The fight being called once again, and Venom Crest can use the same strategy every time, but this time they got Lunkifer. JB once again into the backline. Rhythm won't escape this time as Air now doing what he can, but Loopy's in there for support. A double for the Cassante, and Venom Crest overplay their hand.
FaZe might get one on the backside, but a huge reversal there. Venom Crest have been up on these dragons. They wanted to add the third to their quiver, but unfortunately the pick was a little too juicy. Loopy, fantastic timing to come in over the top and save his carries.
This is very easily the closest a Venom Crest game has been all year. There's been moments, one or two, where it felt like they were getting pushed a bit.
You know who they were against? 200 Bandits.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep, the one time that they got to meet during the regular season, they got pushed to this point. But I feel like 200 Bandits, they're in a great spot. And JB, that Fate Sealed was gorgeous. Managing to catch onto two of the main carries you've got for Venom Crest. Straight up, so nice. But we've got TPs coming in. Venom Crest, they want to go again.
There's no smite. FaZe is not in the building, but they do have Air, they do have Bust, and 200 Bandits should be able to pick this up before it's even contestable. Bust diving in onto Kenny. The Drake is done, but can they win the fight? Venom Crest wants to go right back to the scene of the crime and get some redemption. Kenny this time will not survive. You can see that Smolder has the execution online through the passive. Seneca can't find more.
A difficult position. Air did just manage to unlock his passive there as well, so the Elder Dragon execute available for Smolder. Venom Crest have kept it even throughout the early game. You know, they are slightly advantaged, and 200 Bandits have held them better than anyone else, but the scaling parts of this composition are really starting to hit their mark. With the Rift Hold coming down, there's extra gold in the pocket.
They're just going to be able to keep funneling gold into these main carries. Air is getting further and further ahead. Right now, he's got those 2 items completed. What stacks is he on? 2, 3, 6, I think that says. So he's really, really close to being fully there. You can see the execute is already online for him. He's doing work already. And the Smolder, as much as it isn't the complete terror that it was at the very beginning of this champion's existence, it's still terrifying later on into the game. Very much of this game, though, is going to come down to the flash timers. Air currently doesn't have it, neither does Rhythm. That means there's a great opportunity for JB to try go for an engage. Loopy too. Once those are back up, they're so much safer.
You've got Kenny with the Flash R as well. It is the current favorite engage. Enchanted Crystal comes down, but Loopy's there to reinforce.
Stun is long, but it doesn't stop VNC getting on top of him, and now comes the Maokai ultimate. Asleep from the Lilia. Can he get him to safety? Barely escaping and does, but the rest of this fight is still not looking too hot. Loopy's taken down. FaZe dropping a bit low. It's a big shutdown to pick up there. Air over the top. And 200 Bandits stick around too long. Venom Crest wipe them out and turn for Atakan.
It's Atakan instead of a first Baron here, so if we adjust our expectation, this will be extra in terms of the dragons that Venom Crest have taken, so it's even stronger going into them than it would be going to 200 Bandits. And these levels can't be understated. We're scaling, we're talking Ash, we're talking Smolder, and look at how many roses they get to pick up.
And you can see throughout this fight, right, it's the inability of this composition to run away. The chase that he got is insane. I wasn't sure if this was going to be a good play in the end for Venom Crest, because Buff goes flying in and then jumps into 3 people in the push. But it's a gorgeous ulti right here out of Seneca to stun up the last little bit of damage, allow your jungler to get away alive, and then you can turn this one around. Smolder calls in Mum, and that's the end of that team fight.
We're back into live, 200 Bandits. Just covering some vision on the bot side for recalling. When you recall multiple members like this, it's important to come back out with some strength. They should really be challenging the Baron pit here because both teams have a reasonably fast take. Loopy might be checking it with his chin though.
Oh, unfortunate, straight to the point blank ultimate, the stun not that long. And Seneca coming around the corner. Could be what sticks this. The ult connects, the E, the Q, all of the CC coming down. Both the carries of Venom Crest just wailing on this top laner. Flashes burn. They really don't want to let him get away with this one, and the rampage is secured.
Seneca tanks the tower, and another flash burn. Loopy will now be missing that crucial engage that these top lane tanks bring to the team fight. We'll see if that one makes a difference in the minutes to come.
Baron the priority, and Venom Crest are earning soft power over it by getting the tier 2 and just solidifying Vision on their way out.
Raze may be in trouble. We're checking in top lane instead as Venom Crest continuing the push. There's at least ask 200 bandits to commit one way or the other. There's a shutdown to grab on this Maokai. Not much of a tower either. Lunkifer and JB, the mid jungle duo. The ults are dodged out and Raze gets the safety. It's only the turret. But look at the picture-in-picture. Venom Crest, they've got a more important one. They're finding the kills. Elendil. A bandit has to flash back to the living tower in the base as Loopy back up the fountain after the untimely death. Now Raze is cancelling backs and Venom Crest are walking 200 bandits up and down the map. Loopy looking for an angle in but cannot find it. Lunkifer still hasn't made it back.
No, and this is such good play right here out of Fraze. He's been a massive part of this game from the very beginning. We questioned the Dark Steel. We were wrong. He has made this AP Maokai work, and the fact that he lives while getting dove under a tower with basically no HP whatsoever is truly nuts. You can see the massive advantages that there are pretty much across the board right here for Venom Crest. But look mid.
2,000 gold for the jungler and even more for Air in this mid lane. The magic pen going extra deep on that. You have to remind me what the item's called. Unending Despair, I think. Unending Despair. It's right. I build it, but I've stopped playing the game in English. I'm that sort of problem. The arrow connects!
Outside to Kennedy once again. The support has no way out of this one. Another kill, but the Smolder stacked up there as Venom Crest cannot find any more. But this pick combination is just so devastating. Almost every time they throw it out, they walk away happy.
The arrow connected. Kenny is the approach from 200 bandits, and with that, they can't step up to these minion waves.
That looks like this mid lane tier 3 is just going to get melted. I'm sure that the inhibitor is soon to follow, and Venom Crest, despite the fact it was pretty close during the early stages of this game, this is the Venom Crest that we've come to know and love. This is the dominance that they're able to exert on teams. The second that you give them an inch, they are taking the entire series.
200 bandits did well. They stood up. They showed the best performance versus Venom Crest we've seen all split, nearly a mirror of their regular season game. But we've got to see more. If we're looking forward to game 2, it's fearless. So we're going to be missing the Lilia for Lunkifer. We're going to be missing JB's Yone. Elendil has done really well this game at being the burst damage and the opportunities when Kenny connects. I'm not sure how they approach game 2 in a similar way with Baron on the map midway of the contest.
Yeah, you look at the 0 kill line for Elendil and you worry what could have been if this Corki got a little bit more. Loopy had a great game 1, got a lot of value down on the Cassante, but ultimately when they dive on him it's pretty tough. Seneca now the target for 200 bandits, but look at what is being thrown back in their faces. It will be support for support, but Fraze is deep in the backline. JB to be down. JB in with the flank, ults in, but does not connect where he needs to. Lilia Sleep locks Air in place. He's barely falling, and there it is. But Rhythm and Fraze and Bust stand strong. JB with the flank, but he's the last one left alive.
Yeah, he's just going to have to go retreat back towards his base, and it looks like Venom Crest, they want to start themselves up onto the Baron. Despite the fact there are a couple members down, they've still got themselves the jungler. And that fight, JB, he had the flank, but he doesn't find the Fate Sealed where he needs to. Venom Crest, they're just able to play out these fights a little bit better, and they're ahead enough in gold at this point, even when the fights are messy, and even it just seems like they're able to come on top every time.
Even though Air goes down, how do you catch Rhythm at the same time? As we watch this back, Seneca takes so much damage with the Aftershock. It's so effective here. The arrow and Soul Flare coming just wide. It's fine. It buys the position. Rhythm and Air start to split the moment things get too good to JB through. And even though JB has an excellent position, he cannot seal both of the carries. And at this stage, with this scaling, he needs to hold them both still for the rest of 200 bandits to function.
And we saw in that fight as well, not only was JB not able to connect in the way that he needed to, but Lunkifer, first blood on this Lilia. We were talking about how that was massive, how Lunkifer was going to have to be that guy if we want to see a 200 bandits victory today. He just hasn't been able to.
Ash Arrow simply waited out. Seneca clearly watching from the sidelines, thinking if it's time to go. The confidence has got to be high for Venom Crest going into these later fights. But 200 bandits, they are always scary. The Lilia Yone combo can punish you if you get sloppy with it.
Difficulty here. The tower is approached. Baron buff on. There's so much poke out of Air. The ultimate comes across.
It's a couple of roots down, but look at Air just firing this damage through. You can see the execution. Procs coming through. Seneca engages once again, holding down that front line. It's the support trait, the classic starter, but somehow Seneca is actually doing okay. The golden stasis comes out for Lunkerfer, diving into the backline, but the carries for Venom Crest have not been touched, and now they are free to fire down on 200 Bandits. Baron Way pouring into the base. The last few members of 200 Bandits crumbling under the onslaught of Game 1.
And it looks like right here, Venom Crest, they're going to be able to pick up a couple extra kills. I don't know if Elendil's really going to be able to do anything here. At least manages to get back to the fountain. But that is going to be Game 1. It's going to be Venom Crest going up in our finals.
Not totally unexpected, gentlemen.
No.
Not totally unexpected.
No, this is what we thought.
200 Bandits made it look good. They've now got to make good into great, or Game 2, Fearless is going to start to pinch the pulls. We saw some comfort there. It's time to put the pressure on. If it's 200 Bandits, it's got to be Game 2.
Yeah, it was a decent start for them. You can see the value and the positive they bring in the early game, especially Lunkerfer making it work, getting the early gold. But once Venom Crest got into that rhythm, once the comp started just being able to fire ult after ult after ult, that formula just almost never failed, you know? It's just such a clear mission for them.
Yeah, everybody right there on Venom Crest knew their job, and even if you go a little bit too hyphy maybe in the top lane and you die a couple times on the Renekton, it doesn't matter. You're still useful in these team fights, and the main carry needed to do, and it worries me how many picks for these that they have now used up that are just missing. Whereas a lot, I think, of what Venom Crest played aren't particularly champions like, oh yeah, that's your champion. Smolder mid, like we've seen it, but not that much.
Yeah. Okay, it is the win for Venom Crest. For now, we're going to pass over to Greyheart to see what's going on the menu.
Hey, Sam.
8 times. It's me, Greyheart. It's the Martin Brundle of the pit lane here at the Pixel Bar in Manchester. They are absolutely buzzing. It's been a fantastic first game. It was 200 Bandits taking the Venom Crest team all the way. I'm joined here by veteran Middlecott. Middlecott, what were your feelings after that game?
Slight headache. Feeling a bit wobbly on my feet.
And what about, apart from the points you had?
Apart from the points, I love it, mate. UK League of Legends, this is what it's all about. 2 teams giving it hell for leather. I reckon that the Bandits are going to be coming back strong in Game 2.
You think they're going to be coming back strong? But I've got a question for you that I heard you posing earlier. To borrow Jordan Sparks' song, Mid Lane Diff, how are they meant to breathe with no air?
It's going to be difficult. I think we need to sort of apply a little bit of asphyxiation techniques. Like, I think the jungler's going to be getting there. I really think that this air guy, like, he's quite good at Smolder, but maybe if he doesn't get a quadruple about 30 seconds into the game, the results could be different.
That might not hurt. All right, thanks very much, Middlecott. Let's wander around and see who else we can see on the pit lane. Here we go. We've got Resident Sleeper. It is the governor from Friends. We've got a lot of love coming your way, helping organise this watch party. Sort of hijacked you a little bit. Bit gutted not to see your team here.
No, yeah, it's very disappointing. You know, we would have loved to have been here, brought everyone along to cheer and support, but we're going to get behind 200 Bandits. We're going to come through Game 2 and help push them over the line.
I mean, we're going into Game 2. You're supporting 200 Bandits. Realistically, are we seeing them be the first team to take a game off Venom Crest this split?
We're going to get it done. You know, they've only brought 2 people here for the final. You know, the rest of them, they've all turned up. 200 Bandits, they're all here in person. We've got to get the camaraderie going. We've got to get the chance going for all of them. They're going to do it. They're going to take at least a game.
Thank you so much, Gav. All right, we're about to throw back to the analysts, but before we do, let's do a quick poll here at Pixel Bar. Go Pixel Bar! Big cheers for 200 Bandits here at Pixel Bar. Thrown back to the analysts. Off to you, J Real.
Thank you very Yeah, let's get the BT up because I feel like this is where it all starts to go downhill. Right? Start off nice with the roof, but then this moment in the match.
Can you find a USB-C cable? Because I've actually took up
That's all right. I can get you 65 watts. In terms of getting further presence, right? Like obviously, the photo was just a lot, right? It was just
I have not cast
let's go over there, right? The photo, it was a great moment. There was a bit of hope, you know. There was a little bit of a way back in. 200 minutes, they were finally going to success. Casante, what a champion.
I feel like sometimes you have it's transformation because he's not a shapeshifter, but he makes a different shape. He manages to fight the triple kill in the fight, he manages to clean up the fight, but on the side, the break also takes it ends the team in the fight. You do get the gold some gold into your front line there, which does help about like really good job for Luffy. He has played an excellent game. He's one of the best players in the league. Other members from 200 Band need to step up. Feels like beyond a few flashes of brilliance, JD wasn't on the whole play. And Elegant, Kenny has already touched him, and Elegant is kind of letting the game happen. So I think there needs to be a little bit of a wake.
Okay, also, we're going to get the replay of the Casante. Let's you get that one on screen. Let's have a little look at that one because I feel like 200 minutes, they deserve a little bit of celebration for them. And we're going to go to the replay. Oh yeah, so it's a pretty decent one for them.
Okay, so yeah, this is the fight at around 26 minutes where the pig finally gets caught up. This is the triple kill from the Smolder. So this is when the game kind of starts snowballing. We see the last shot, triple kill, kind of just gets the game rolling in a bit of a bad state for 200 Bandits. They do pull it back later on, but it's a very difficult uphill climb from there.
I mean, like, at that point, as you said, he is inevitable. And I think that going into this next game, they're going to have to not allow that sort of to be beaten in the late game. That is usually 200 Bandits' win condition. That's usually when they perform so well. And in this game, it didn't come to pass. And don't forget, we've had many. This is Fearless. Your Lilia's gone. That is your main win con a lot of time for Lunkafer. His Lilia was phenomenal. And now it's gone. It's undefeated.
No, indeed, like we talked about previous Lilia, Kindred, like those things. They were really big power picks, right? I want to quickly go to that Yone moment, right, where we were able to get a team fight. It was definitely going the way of Venom Crest, but Yone was able to kind of pull back a little bit, right? Like there was a little bit of resistance, but I think this is kind of highlighting the point that I feel like is the issue for playing against Venom Crest. When they're ahead, they just do so much, right? Like we're gonna get the one bit of a high moment for 200 Bandits, right? We're going to get the Casante moment right now. Let's bring that one up on screen because this was a great moment, but in the end, it's not enough to bring them back.
And I mean, as you've already said, Harold, Luffy had a phenomenal game, and this honestly was, as you said, the pinnacle of what 200 Bandits could bring out in this game with the triple coming from the Casante. But as you can see, it looks like it's a pretty balanced. They managed to touch two here. JB gets a massive fate sealed as well onto both carries. Luffy managing to clean it up. High moment, but in a game of many, many lows, let's be honest. I think for game two, I think they can't really go back to the drawing board, can they? We've discussed their style. We've said they play cryo lanes, they play for Lunkafer. Did they have cryo lanes this game? Not really. Did they really play for Lunkafer? Not really. So how do they manage to make things happen for game two? Because a lot of their champions...
Let's get into the final replay. Let's get into the 26th moment. Like, again,
Phrase making big plays, setting up the team fight, and there is a little bit of rebuttal for 200 Bandits, but they're just way too far behind.
Yeah, at this point, you're basically just falling into the trap of fighting from the back into Maokai Smoker. Anytime the Smoker gets any uptime in the fight, it is difficult. The sleep from Lunkafart here buys just enough time for Air to... It's a 4-4-2. At the end of the day, you're not going to get much of the end of it. You're not...
Yeah, indeed. It's a sentiment where it was a good start for 200 Bandits, but they need to push it further. Now, let's talk about the second draft, right? Elendil, you have a lot of thoughts about this. It's Fearless draft.
Yeah, I've already. I was saying in the green room, I was really concerned now for Elendil's champ pool. He spent a lot of Ash and a lot of Corki, and both of those are gone. Where does he go now? We know, as you can see here, the Ash. There's a Sivir, like things like this, but. It's all right to front, but either way, Ash and Corki are gone. There's an Ezreal, there's a Varus. Varus will be banned. Sivir is not a great champion, honestly, at the moment. It has its places, but is that what you want? Unlikely.
Yeah, like there were a couple of options left there, but it also asked the question of like, well, Venom Crest just going to keep playing the pinch the champion pool game because it worked for them in game 1. They could potentially do it in game 2, and they might just starve out 200 Bandits from any opportunities.
Well, what they could look to do on the side of 200 Bandits is probably try and target that 80 carry champion pool and then shift towards AP carry bot lane, the Ziggs, the possibility of the Quay, getting something that can just permanently wave clear with safety and is going to scale into the game with a high impact ultimate. You can't match Rhythm hands for hands at this point. I think it's been proven throughout the tournament. What you have to do is match him for firepower. He needs to be in the fight close to auto attack to deal damage. Take the Ziggs, be out of the fight, just throw your bombs. At that point, you're denying the possibility of getting your damage. And when it comes for the Lilia gone. Where is because I feel like it can be a point. It can be a good point of attack.
I just want to add here that out the AP bot lane, there's Yone's gone, Corki's gone. Who's your mid laner? The physical damage mid lane pool has now been really tough. When you have to go physical damage on Bunkerfer, then you're looking at tank top lane and then more damage, match damage in mid. I wonder if that's going to end up being a case of they're not going to be comfortable doing that. That's not. That's my point here because they play two mates. And you end up having situations like they play very aggressive lanes into you. They actually do hamstring you, and Venom Crest run away with that. I have real big concerns already now for the side of 200 Bandits, because they've lost so many champions already, and the big case is they've lost the prio champions pushing in bot other than Ziggs.
Now, the big thing, right, we're talking about bot lane. Let's roll a replay, right? Let's bring back Rhythm popping off, okay? Because I feel like it's a pick we haven't seen so far. It's one that is super dangerous, and that Lucian could come back and haunt 200 Bandits.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Rhythm, he has shown again, time and time again, that he will go for the handshake, he will go for the fight, and here is just, you're just using this tried and true combo in the bot lane to just aggress and find the pick. You end up going 2-for-1, you end up falling, but it doesn't really matter. If you just keep snowballing the lane from that point, you can go 2-for-1 if you want. If all the kills are on the Lucian, you're going to be fine. And at this point, the fight looks even, and then Rhythm just keeps hitting. In this case on the Kai'Sa, but anytime he gets any uptime in a fight, he's going to maximize his DPS output. There's a reason this guy's probably the best AD carry in the league. Having the possibility, just the ability of being in the fight the entire time, even though it's a difficult comp to execute or whatnot, this guy will find a way. I think this is his biggest asset.
I just want to also add here that you've seen the Kai'Sa in the V2, right? Let's think about Elendil's champ pool. He's got an Ezreal left. There's Kai'Sa answer to that one. You've then got a Sivir. There's going to be other answers coming out probably from Rhythm as well. So everything that you see Elendil want to go for, Rhythm will have an answer. And that is a huge concern because you need to have, we keep saying it over and again, you need to have prio lanes. You need to play for Lunkerfer.
And if you don't have that opportunity where you're encounter picked in lanes and you're being shoved in, Lunkever can't play his game. So Elendil has to step up now, pick champions. Like you're saying, the Ziggs is a great choice to get those lanes shoved. But you can't be then handshaked in that lane. And they play a little bit too passive for that, maybe. They need to make sure here that they play confidently. They've lost a game 1 on their comfort champs, but they can't play passive in this game 2 because they'll be run over, and it could be a very quick series.
Talking about champion balls, I feel like Loopy is one that we didn't talk about too much in the pre-show, right? It's also got a lot of potential going into this matchup, right? Where we talk about tanks, we talk about Ornn, we talk about some Scion gameplay as well, but the Urgot, like, I feel like maybe that's the game plan. He played pretty well in this last game against Bus, was able to put a lot of pressure on, get some movements in. You don't seem very impressed with that take, but what do you think Urgot's Spellman?
I was going to say, it's very likely a perma man. It's fearless, so now you don't have to really change your bans if you're Venom Crest. You're not sitting there making adaptations in this draft. You just go, well, we'll keep the same 3 bans. You don't get to play your Urgot, which Loopy has been, let's be real, phenomenal at that champion. Then, do you take the Ornn early? Bus will have an answer to that. The Ornn got banned second phase this last draft. So are they going to then go, okay, well, we'll have to take Ornn early. You get slammed in top, and this is where your game starts to fall apart again. So they need to figure out a way of getting the lanes that they want, pushing in the way that they want them for Lunkefer. And I have big concerns again. I can't bring it up, but it's so worrying when you lose a game like this. When you lose a game like this, it's devastating.
Yeah, I do think Loopy has the possibility to dictate how the flow of the game goes. They have to think whether they want blue side or red side in terms of, do we want to give Loopy a favorable matchup, or do we prioritize something for blue enough that we need just to sack the top? The thing is, you sack Dublin against Bust, it kind of never goes well. In this game, you don't sack it because you go for the Cassandra, which, yes, doesn't have the greatest matchup early on into the Protectant, but he scales into it. It's fine. But if you're going to have to blind pick, maybe if you blind pick a Sheer, what if you get counter pick with an Aatrox over a Mordekaiser? Like, you can't really blind into Bust. He has played a variety of champions, and he will play the carries to shut down these tanks. But at the same time, do you prioritize the blue side to get something like the Skarner or the Kindred from Lunkefer? You're stuck in this bit of a limbo where you want both sides, and yet you can't really have either of them without losing something major.
Indeed, and one thing that they can't lose is the next game, because the momentum is going to be massive, right? At 2-0, it's flashbacks to their bar series, they don't want to be in that situation, but Venom Crest are still to lose, right? They are still to lose a game in the whole season. Playoffs or regular season, they're still undefeated. Now, the closest they did come to losing was against 200 Bandits, I believe, but can it finally happen? Will it finally be the time for them to lose the game? It's going to be really difficult. We are going to be throwing it over to Greyheart, though, who is with some of the players to get an interview mid in this series.
Okay, I've moved out of the pit lane. I am backstage in the garage now. We are where all the action is happening. Here with the players, we can see the Venom Crest boys. Here they are getting ready. See if we can get them over my shoulder. The Venom Crest lineup, of course, Bus, Phrase, Air, Rhythm Seneca. If you can hear me out there in Pixel Bar, give them a big shout out. Over here, this is where the 200 Bandit team will soon be congregating. They are, of course, Loopy, Lunkefer, JB Elmdale, and Kenny, the coaches, Hayes and Pistol as well, doing everything they can to make sure their teams are as prepped as possible. This is where the magic happens. Now, it's out into the rift. Over to you, Trojan. Maybe.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, Bones, we're still here. Let's check in one more time. We got legal. How excited are you for this match?
Hopefully.
Are the teams behaving themselves?
Yeah, somewhat.
And will this next throw to the casters work? Over to you, Trojan.
Can't throw me into that.
We casting this back in situ. We've been all around this building. We've been up and down, around the about. It's time for the games. Let me get back into it.
Oh man, I mean, it's so much fun walking around the building right now, having a look at all the fans, how much excitement there is in here.
It's so rammed. Pixel Bar, are you ready for game 2?
God, that was funny.
We hope they are.
We're hoping.
It's when they start seeing the flashing lights.
And then
on the screen.
we'll do it.
Oh, there's the delay. There we go. There's the
There it
screen.
is. They are in fact alive and ready for League of Legends, as we are.
Oh, deep breath. 200 bandits, a lot of pressure. Something no one has managed to do all split until they lose the Nexus, actually lose the game. Early game, we've kind of got a handle on it. The transition into mid game, never successful. Not once yet. The crowd is behind 200 bandits though.
They want 5 games. They really want to go all the way, and to be fair, so do we on this game. So much fun. But so far, no team has actually been able to take a game off of them. Getting one game is the beginning of it. You've got to go brick by brick here. Will they be able to?
Yeah, you need to try and pick out what worked in the first game and then try and a little bit of a mental reset. We're all a little bit, we're out of sorts here. You're in a live venue. You can hear the crowd going through. For Venom Press especially, not even all their players are in the venue. There's like now a little bit of a disconnect. They've managed to maintain their form very well. They actually look like the same Venom Press that we've normally seen. But for 200 Bandits, for me, they looked a little cold in game 1. Not quite warmed up, but maybe now they're all situated. They've all had that first game together. They've had a chat about it. They can get back in and show us what they got.
So would you agree with me if I threw out the statement, we need another set piece draft?
Yeah.
If it was, for instance, KC at EME Masters, we'd be looking at slow queue on Yasuo Yone and a Sejuani. That's not the sort of team 200 Bandits are. I want to see Syndra and Viego red 1 and 2. I want to see a big set piece that they can play around, that coalesces easily. That's the go button. And while it gives Venom Crest a clear target, what would your choice be of set piece for 200 Bandits?
Give me Nocturne. Give me Orianna.
Oh, hello,
Let's
Sunshine.
Just go straight into the back
The
line.
simplest, most comboing combo of all
Yes,
time.
exactly. Let's wombo combo the heck right here out of Venom Crest, and let's see if we can actually get on top of these main carries, because I feel like, despite the fact that there were a few plays maybe where Air was getting pushed around, he was kind of just chilling that entire game.
It was pretty straightforward, wasn't it? There wasn't really a time at which that Smolder was under threat. There was only one time he fell, and it was to the immediate benefit of his AD carry. He managed to add rhythm, just slammed the rest of the fight on his own. So it's got to be enough to do both. And if you're going to Orianna Nocturne, you have to be a real long way apart to not be caught by both.
Yeah. Now we are getting into the draft right here, and something that we need to give credit again is how well Loopy did and how much not of a problem he was, right? We were worried about Loopy potentially being a weak spot. He absolutely was not. And that does make it a little easier to manage this draft, perhaps as we go on. It wasn't even a classic Loopy pick, like Asante. So there's still plenty of quality to bring out of this top side, and that maybe gives 200 Bandits a little bit more room to focus on making sure mid jungle works, making sure